Well, I'm glad we caught that somewhat early on. Pretty much everything else that I've been saying, that's going to make for a lovely video later. Yeah, I turned it down when I was doing the starting soon. I'm trying to continue to fail as a novice streamer here. I thought I'd do the starting soon thing as I was pouring my drink and whatnot. So yeah, now you should be able to hear me. Sorry. I heard myself. I was great. I was entertaining. That's gonna make a boring part to the first anybody that comes in later. But well, I'm glad we caught that somewhat early on. Pretty much everything. Jeez, now I got double going on. That's gonna make for a lovely video later. I am really failing. Still got my Twitch here. All right, we'll get it right. Grab your popcorn. Watch the guy fail. All right. So all the things I was trying to say was basically we're just back to laying down our color flats. Darn it, I had a couple new viewers too. Oh well. All right, so we're starting in on our gray here. Back to it. We're going to lay down all the gray areas. I'm not going to repeat everything I just said because my patience only goes so far. But rest assured, the goal here is we're trying to lay down flat colors and keep them on separate layers in Photoshop so that I can edit them later if I want. Robi's got, I just showed off some automation, which at least from the visual you should have been able to see. So I kind of skipped ahead, and we'll try to get this guy going here. So just as usual, you know, I want coverage on this layer. I don't want to have stuff not filled in. I'm being a little bit sloppy, and that's okay because I'm going to come right back and edit it. I'd rather get too much coverage on this pass than not enough. I've been not doing that the last couple times around. And if I was going to cover, again, this area right here, and these two, they're going to get covered up by subsequent layers, so I'm not going to worry about them at all. But I am going to worry about stuff that butts right up against my blue here. So this stuff I gotta, before I'm done, I gotta clean up. I'm going to clean that up right now because I know this area is going to be blue in the end. My royal blue here. Well, one day I'll make a decent streamer out of myself. Maybe. Here we go. No, I mentioned on the start of this, I guess I'll at least tell the story of why I'm here again. I was doing some light DIY housework. Nothing big, just replacing a sheet of plywood in the basement here that's been hanging out for a few years, ever since we did a room over here. And nothing gets my blood pressure up quite like DIY work. I'm not exactly the handiest fella. I do some things, but I tend to swear a lot, so I thought what better way to get that blood pressure back down than to pour myself a cocktail, do some drawing, maybe have a small audience, and have some fun. This is my zen. This is where I come to chill. So even though I got a ton of work to do as an indie dev, when I'm just coloring this stuff doesn't bother me at all. I got to wear a lot of hats as an indie dev, and this is the fun part. There's lots of other things that you just have to do because you have to do, but this is the part I love. This is what really drew me in, and I was super pumped when we got Chad to start drawing line art for us because all I ever really wanted to do, I like drawing line art, but I love coloring so much more. It's the grown up version of a coloring book, but you get to do way cooler things. And like I said, we're doing this part now, but the fun stuff is the shading that we'll get to in a little bit. So I think, like I said, I expect this part to go fairly quick. This guy isn't too big. I think that's all of our gray. Nope, not quite. Not going to take as long as those big bad bosses did the other last week. Okay. I think that's all my gray. It's easy to come back and hit it up again if it's not. So the next color we're going to lay down is this light blue here. The light blue in Robayu is his body color. It's his hands, his arms, his limbs, and some accents. So we're going to hit those right now. I'm trying to make sense of what I'm seeing here. Right. Okay. So it's things like these little screws are this color. Oh, I did miss a gray. See, you tend to spot these things when you're off ready to do something else. That's when you find what you missed. Okay. Change layer, change paint. I'm going to get in and make this guy. Every layer that we do makes him come to life just a little bit more. That's what I like about doing this, is just seeing something that was flat and kind of bringing some life into it. I mean, the line art is sweet. All by itself, but for our game we need to bring it into full life, and that's the part I really enjoy doing. Don't mind me and my lack of haircut. I did just at least get out of the shower, so at least I'm clean. I do look a fright. I'm not too concerned with it right now. Okay, I know this guy's got to be that. Hit these bolts as long as I'm seeing them. Alright. His whole hand. So I'm going to, again, like I always say, most of any good digital artist is just zooming in and out and getting bigger and smaller brushes. You'll see us do it a ton. And I'm happy to say us. I might not be the best out there, but I enjoy being in this group. There was a time when I was pretty reluctant to try digital art. I just had a comfort zone on paper. Didn't really know where to start. Didn't know what tools. There's so many different tools and approaches you can try. It's pretty intimidating. But you just got to start somewhere. I started with, I guess, my earliest stuff. I wasn't really doing digital painting, but I did at least before I got into Photoshop. I did try GIMP, so GIMP is free. Find yourself some free tools. There's tons of them out there. They may not be the industry standard. Like, now that I'm in Photoshop, I'd never use anything else, but that doesn't mean you have to start there. You can work your way up and see if it even appeals to you before you go all in. And of course, I'm drawing on a Wacom Cintiq. I didn't start out with that either. I started out with I would recommend, you can get a drawing tablet. Not necessarily something you can draw on the screen, but you can get a drawing tablet like an Intuos from Wacom. Pretty cheap. $100, $200. If you're serious about art, there is just no substitute for the right tools. In between, I use my Wacom Cintiq here at home. And back when we actually used to venture outside the home, I got a Surface Pro, and it really would just help me get a lot of stuff done, on my lunch breaks and stuff like that. So invest in good tools. That's the some of the best advice I can give you. You should find out whether it's going to be your thing or not first. I mean, I loved drawing as a kid, and I really put it on hold through high school and college as I was more interested in music. So doing this as I started my day job, well, no, I was about 10 years into my day job before this opportunity came along, and it's just reconnected me back with my first love, drawing. So anyway, enough about that. How we doing? Still good. So I think we got our light blue there. Next color we're going to do is our red. So red is his accent color. It'd be player two's main color. I hate that it does that. Okay, so we're going to take our brush, and where do I want to start? I can start right here. I'm going to zoom in. And there's just pieces of her body that are red that we got to make sure we touch. I just ended up making this little lip down here red just to get some red down into his lower half when we were playing with his color palette early on. Just wanted to get a decent spread of color. I didn't want to overdo the red because he had to read as primarily blue. But you just want to do enough that in the marketing art, but especially in the game, that he looks like he's got a decent balance of color. So details like this don't show up in the game, but those little lips on his knee joints there, they're visible. And you just give ever so slightly a little bit of red down below. Okay, I should probably clean this up as long as I'm seeing it. There we go. Back to our red. Alright, I'm going to go in here. Again, I'm just getting smaller and smaller with my brush. I got my pressure sensitivity turned on so I can press light and make sure I'm fitting in those lines. If I screw up, it's not a big deal because it's digital. It's really easy to undo. It would make me nervous to deal in real paint where I guess you have to just be comfortable, working it and painting over stuff, but every stroke in real painting is for real, for keeps, for the most part. With digital, you can mess up all you want. It's always fixable. Okay. Moving on up. So when it takes me too long to scribble in like that, that's when I'll move up my brush size. And I'll know that you can fill it in on 1 or 2 passes rather than 50. And again, here I got a big swatch of red, so just go up with my brush size so I can not take all day with it. His whole scarf has got to be red, so we'll go up nice and big, and we'll cover that guy in no time. These are getting covered up later, so I'm not worried about getting a little red on them. Use my pressure sensitivity to go around that lightly. Shrink again to get the detail. Just like that. And here's a little piece I missed with, probably that's blue too, yep. So when I see stuff like that, that's when I'll go and delete my layer mask, take a new version of the blue, cover it up again, and I'll never have to worry about it. The reason I have to do that is because we're still going to come back to that area and overlay it with our shading. So I don't want little streaks of black or white or the gold coming in later. Alright. So with our red here, I got this collar. Oh, and I missed a piece. Back to our red. I missed a little bit with our blue, but that's alright. I'll come back for it. These little guys should be the light blue, so we'll hit them up. I'll get this line as long as I'm in the neighborhood. So it's really adding up all these layers that give it the pop. And when you see this little bit of red, it's not much, but when you see it next to everything, it really gives it all the detail. Gosh, I missed a lot of light blue in here. It's when you get closer that you see all the details. I don't know what I was doing before. Okay, back to red. So I know I got to do these in red, these little lines. Get smaller with our brush. Oh, yep. Got to change my color though. I keep seeing stuff that I missed before. There's another piece of gray. When we see this at the full resolution, I mean, I don't think any of that's going to make much of a difference, but I can't help but want to clean it up when I see it. Alright, in with the red lines. So this is kind of the tedious part, just filling in the base color. A monkey could do this part, although I might be a little bit faster at it with some of my tools. Shading is where we add our special little touch. Okay, I think we're good with red. Now we're going to do our gold. So his visor, I don't know why I keep adding extra layers. His visor is going to be gold. We'll start there. Okay. Brush is way too small. There we go. And then, like we said this morning, all of the power-ups we tend to do in this gold, and we like to light them up like they're kind of plasma. I gotta stretch here again. A little drawing yoga from being hunched over. A little yoga and a drink. Nothing beats it. So all these ninja stars are going to be gold as well. And then later we're going to do a glow effect so that we kind of see more of that gold back reflected back on his body, but we'll get to that. That's when things are really fun. So I'm just picking a nice big brush so I can color these in. Again, I'm not really sweating it too bad. I want to get it done quickly. Fast is the name of the game. As an indie dev, I got lots of other things to do on the game. It's lots more drawings like this. Lots more tweets and publisher pitches and music and video editing. Never ends. I really like this pose that Chad did here. It's pretty sweet. Okay, and every time we add a color, you just see that little bit more separation, and you start to understand what you're looking at a little bit better. Got to be a little more careful in here. Let's zoom in. So we're almost good with our flats here, and then we're gonna start the fun. If I ever did get going with the stream stuff, I should speak in time for like a song or a change in tone, right, to signify we're going into party mode when we get to shade. Sometimes I gotta back up and figure out what I'm looking at. You're in too close, it's hard to see the forest for the trees. The happy trees. Yep, like right now I can't tell. So this is part of his ninja star, but that isn't, I think. Yep. Okay. So I think that is all of our color flats. Just like that. You know what it is time for? It's time for a drink. All done. Okay. So with our color flats done, so far, things out. If you're hanging out, feel free to say hi. So far, we've gone from our flat, we laid down our blue, we automated some things, gave us some layers, we got some flat colors. That looks pretty cool on its own. Now we're going to keep going and move into our shading layers, and there's a lot of them. So what I like to do is on the first 3 or 4 layers, we're going to lay down some flat vector areas, but they're all shaded. But the tricks up my sleeve aren't too tricky. I use these soft light blended layers. So if you look at all my layers over here, I use the blend mode of soft light. Everything we've done so far is just normal. You know, you color it and you see it. A soft light layer will take the color and blend it underneath with, like it says, nice soft light. So what I'd like to do for my shading is just go back to plain old black and white and select the freeform brush. And I do that because the freeform brush kind of self-corrects a little bit. It's not going to do everything for me, but it creates a smoother line that I would have, that I'd be able to keep my hand steady with my, vices. So we're going to lay down just with flat black, and we're going to use combined shapes. So we're going to keep all that on one layer, and we're going to go in here starting from somewhere up top. And we're just going to imagine where our light source is. For me, it's usually the top left. And we're just going to draw in where we think the light's getting blocked from the 3D shapes. And what you can see that I'm coloring with black. Here, I'll change that. So if I switch back to normal, you see that's a black layer. But when we blend with soft light, it takes that black and it softly blends it with the blue and the gold underneath. And in that way, I can save a ton of time by using that to my advantage. I don't have to pick out those colors myself. I just know that I'm kind of adding a shadow. A shadow is like the absence of light. The absence of light is black. So we do that, and we just keep going in places where we think they're more likely to be shade. And again, these are my catchphrases, but we're not going for ultra realism in this style. We're going with what looks cool. I'm going with a semi-metallic look. My shortcuts for that is kind of these striations of color, these bands of the shading. They kind of signify how light would refract differently on the metal surface. I'm no pro by any means. I just have tried stuff out long enough to get something that kind of works for me. And that's all art really is just finding out what your style is and going for it. Nobody can tell you that it's wrong. If you're trying to be too much like somebody else, you're not really doing art. Art's about expressing yourself and doing what looks cool to you, and that's kind of... I think I've grown a lot doing this project in that respect. Just getting more confidence about making my own mark, and as humble and modest as it is. So you can see here my trademark, I call them Batman lines. I just like to do these swoops. Batman. Just kind of connect up the areas and swoop them in. That's not a very good description, but that's kind of what I do here for my lines. It's very comic booky, and I'm trying to figure out the angle of that piece. What am I looking at? Guess I'm just gonna do... So there's nothing magical about what I'm doing. I'm just picking different lines where I think if my light's coming from here, kind of where the light might get blocked. And even then, it's not necessarily realistic. Like, light might not be getting here, but I'm trying to show contrast too. If I just bury everything in shadow, it's not going to be too good looking either. So I'm just picking my shots here. Good art is all about contrast, so we're just trying to get ample contrast. I like how that's looking so far. Let's see. I'll color that in. So we are going to go back and do a... Oh, Photoshop. Come on. We're going to do a second layer of black soft light too, so I don't have to worry about every last detail, because we're going to draw out some more details in a little bit. Like I said, if you're hanging out, don't be shy. I'm just a dude. I'd love to talk to somebody else besides myself. Feel free to pop in the chat. I'd love to know who's watching. Where are you from? What brings you here? Alright, so the best advice is take your time with these intricate parts, because the detail is where the battle's won. People will notice detail, even if they don't immediately recognize why they like something. It's usually just the amount of sheer detail in it. Even if they can't put it into words, you know, you can tell when somebody's taking their time and put a lot of care into something. That's really all good art is just people who went further, push it further, push it further. You know, you could stop at any time. I could have stopped at the flat colors and it would have looked cool to some people, but you know, we don't have enough time to go super far. That's kind of why we chose a comic book styling, because we do want to get this game done sometime this century. But the more detail, the more you'll be recognized. The cream will rise to the top, as they say. Sometimes I gotta remember where my lines started out so I can make sure I meet them in the right place. Again, this is a little bit recessed section, so I'll probably take that and make that all dark. Off my light sources, the upper left, I would kind of start to obscure this side of them. It's okay if things meet weird, because that's what, if this was really happening in real life, that's kind of what they would do, so don't be scared of it. I'm just going to add in a second band here for visual interest. Definitely no light getting in there. Probably some banding in here. Alright, I'm digging that. Move over to his other leg. Trying to figure out what to do with this section here. So a lot of my light would be blocked on this side. This would pretty much be full shadow, so let's do that. Just Batman that up and make it look cool. There we go. Okay, we'll add a little spike for flare. I'm digging that. Probably got to add a little bit of... I'm not going to overdo it on these gold things because they're going to be... we're going to kind of light them up from the inside, so to speak. So I don't want to go crazy with shadows, but we'll do a little bit. Especially on the edges or these recessed parts. I'm going to do just enough. We don't have to do a lot. They're mostly going to be light. That's probably enough, actually. Okay, so our first time for a drink. Every time you get a layer done, you got a drink, right? So now I'm going to go back on my second shadow layer, and they're going to stack, so anytime I add more shadow, it's just going to make a slightly darker blue. For a nice cumulative effect. And I'm just going into the areas where I think might be in deep shadow, you know, things where big heavy pieces are hanging over this, or it's not going to be as extensive as what I just did. We might create, oh, that's a bad line. We might make little bands like this, so I don't go all the way to the edge usually because, you know, there's reflected light that's on the bottom edge typically. So again, just trying to add a little more interest. You don't have to be too precise. This is a big image. All right. Let's see. Probably should get some up in here a little bit. And I just go, these parts are really, oh, that's not cool. Somewhere along the line it decided to go on a new layer. I don't really know what did that, but there's an easy fix. We can just select them all and merge shapes again because they're vector. Oh, we gotta make sure we're doing soft light though. Really easy to fix. Why does it keep doing that? Jerk. Photoshop, you make my life so easy sometimes, but you can be such a jackass other times. There we go. Alright. Usually where the detail's getting heavy, you know, like on a hand, that's the time to use another layer. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now we're going to switch over and do highlights. So we're going to, the only difference is we're still on soft light, but we're going to come back in with white. And we're going to create highlights on all our, now I won't probably go quite as crazy with white as I did with shadow. Don't want to overdo it on highlights, but we want to make sure he looks nice and shiny as a robot. And that's kind of where highlights come in. Lots of shine. Again, just where we imagine the lights hitting the surfaces. We're also representing glare, like on his visor here. I usually put some bands where the light might be hitting it. I want to do the Ninja Stars last because I want to make sure I give them extra attention. We're going to do something a little bit special with them. That red's really saturated, so it's not going to show a ton of my... I don't want to do that. It's not going to show a lot of my detail here, but if we ever change it to the reverse for the player 2, I still want to have this all in here because it will show up on the blue, as we can see. So again, on these especially long, thin tubes, I just like to do little lines of light. Just sells that metallic look. And this, like I said, this is really where the fun is. This is where things really start to take shape and look comic-y and whatnot. And a lot of this, there's nothing magical about what I'm picking to pick out here. I've just done this a lot, and I'm just imagining where light's hitting and probably not doing a great job of it. Somebody that actually gets paid to do art might take issue with some of what I'm doing, but I don't care. Art's very subjective. Everything's just an opinion. You can't get too bent out of shape about somebody else's opinion about your art. You'll never make it as an artist if you get too hung up on what other people think. Of course, we all say that, and then we're all mortally hurt when people don't like our stuff, but such is the life. All right, we're looking pretty darn good here. So I promised I had to do those Ninja Stars. Am I good on everything else? I think I'm good on everything else. I'm going to come right in here. This is looking a little bit bland. Whoa. Doesn't matter what you tell it. Photoshop still wants to be an a-hole. I told you not to do that, and you didn't care. Just like I told you soft light, and you didn't do it. There. All right. So what do I want to do here? I think what I'm going to do for these is I'm going to follow the non-beveled surface here pretty close with this layer. And I'm still going to add more highlights in here kind of as the light's hitting these. That looks pretty good. We're actually going to change the line style on these, which we'll do pretty shortly here. So these are going to look a lot different here in just a minute. But we're just setting ourselves up for what's to come. Again, I don't sweat these being perfect if they're close. I've kind of adopted that as my line style. If I tried to make everything perfectly match, this game would release in 2040. And none of us have that much patience, so it wouldn't release. You just gotta know when enough's enough. If I wanted to, I could punch a hole in that so that we'd retain our shade there, but I don't really care that much. It's still the relativity between the two. It's darker than what's here. Since they're all kind of interlit up, I'm not super worried about that. All right, that's not looking too shabby. So now I'm going to decide whether I need one more. Yeah, I do. I'm going to add another layer of highlighting, regular highlighting, because I got areas like this up here that I think could use a nice band of extra white. Just kind of sets that off a little bit. That striation looks nice. So this will be even less than what I did elsewhere. I'm going to do something different on these in a second, so I'm not going to touch those. But I'm just going to hit a few of these lightly. Maybe a little bit in his scarf. Yep. Probably, yeah, we'll do one here. Basically where there's big areas and I want to break them up a little bit. That's what I'm looking for. So you can see you get kind of that nice variance from the light down to the dark. Gives it a nice robot feel. Probably something right in here. Yeah. All right. I kind of like that treatment. I'm going to use that in here. I'm not using it on the inside, but I am going to use it for these bevel edges. That's going to have a nice effect when we're all said and done here. Okay. I'm going to set up myself. I'm going to need a few more of these layers yet. The next one I'm actually going to change it to a hard light. And inside this Ninja Star here, we're going to come in here because these are kind of like white hot. So this one I do want to punch a hole in. So what I'm going to do is cut this out. I'm going to trace that, but I'm going to go subtract from that shape. So it's going to take it back out. And then I'm going to draw my next one. And it's going to start on subtract, but we kind of have to do things in order. So I'm going to add. I'm just going to add it back. It's kind of backwards. You have to draw the piece and then tell it what you want it to do with it. So those are looking good. Again, these are lit up from the inside, so we're trying to make them glowing white hot. And we're going to smooth things out in a little bit so it looks better here. Subtract, and we'll add a few more in here. Actually, I'm just going to add the rest, and then we'll punch out the rest. That'll be a little more efficient than changing every time. And I'm having a second thought about one tiny detail. So now we're going to take these out. And this one. And I'm kind of thinking maybe I should take a little bit more out these. So if we really have the center going on, that white hotness wouldn't be going all the way to the middle. So let's give it a little breathing room there on all of these. So I'm just tracing a little bit bigger circle. It doesn't really matter where they intersect because, again, we're trying to kind of mimic what would happen in real life. And when I step away here, you can see it's kind of starting to have that effect. We're not really selling it yet, and the biggest reason why is because of our black lines are just making it look like more, it just looks like gold metal with this white on it. So let's go ahead and fix that next. So way up here on our black layer, we're going to actually make a cap layer of our line drawing. We're going to pick this same gold that we used to color in, and we're going to throw an effect on. We're going to do a color overlay with that gold. We're going to set it to hard light. And what that's going to look like, it's going to turn all of our black lines into this. Now, our original black lines are not gone. They're still there. I could turn this effect off. They're still there. But we only want this on part of our drawing, namely the ninja stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another layer mask. So I'm going to hit Alt and then hit my mask icon down here. And that's going to give me a black mask so it all goes away. What I paint back in with white is going to be what I actually see from that layer. So I've got my white brush. I'm going to expand this. And when I paint back in, you can see I get that effect. And now we can see the mix of the two. It kind of makes our ninja stars stand out a little bit. And they look like they're... We're going to do more, but they kind of start to look like they're glowing from the inside. And it looks like I missed a couple of spots. Let's go get that real quick. We don't want to see any blue in there. Okay. So we're going to go back here to our white. I'm going to color in all of these. Nope, that's not what we want to do. Up here. And we're going to have one more step after this. Well, several more steps, but one more step to get this part done. Go over all that. Then I'm just going to switch my brush to black to paint it back out. I go back and forth until I get what I want. Again, just going, varying our granularity. This one's easy because it's not touching anything. I like those. Yep, I'm painting with black, so I got to paint with white. That's easy. It's when they meet that we get ourselves in trouble. So paint those all out. The smaller we get, the more control we have. It just takes longer to do all the stuff. So I'm going to paint them all, and then I'm going to go look for any edges that need to be cleaned up. I'm getting that nice diaphragm sore from being hunched over here. It's all right. All in the name of video game art. Yeah, I got a few of them to clean up here. It's all right. Better to get good coverage, and like they said, it's easy to undo. Okay. I'm going to go back with black, and I know that these are actually parts of my fingers, so I need to get those back. Take that back away. So we're just trying to clean it up so it looks like it has a nice clean, just the stars are what's lighting up. Oh, that should actually be, nope, actually, sometimes you go cross-eyed trying to figure out what's what. Okay. Best thing to do is just be patient. It's okay to get it wrong a few times, as long as you get it right in the end. Okay. Now I have Win in the End from Teen Wolf in my head. And if you know what that is, you're old. Win in the end. I'm gonna win in the end, yeah. Classic. If you know some Teen Wolf, you better be chatting about that. If you don't, then you just think I'm crazy. You're not far off. Okay, like last time, so we're pretty good there. We stretch, yoga, drink. We can still kind of see this black underneath. So what we need to do is kind of the opposite on this black layer underneath. You can see my black is still actually there. We're actually going to take it away with a mask. We're going to start with white, and we're going to paint in with black. And you'll see that the effect of that is all my lines are going away. We'll see the crappy ass art underneath. That being my coloring. So what that does when they're both there, you can see if I do it, it just kind of cleans up the edges a little bit. You don't get that tiniest bit of black coming through on the edges. It just smooths out our edges a little bit. And I really don't have to be perfect with this. The main idea is just to kind of mostly get it out of there. Again, I like this one because it's easy. Boom, just like that. That might be hard to pick up in the stream. You might not even be noticing a difference, but I assure you there's a difference. In high def here, you can definitely see the little black going away. So I gotta come back in here. Sometimes I get a little too carried away. Just go back and forth till you get it right. Some fuzz on my face. Almost done here. Now we'll get to the really cool stuff in a second. Not minding that too much. I get really tiny with my brush. All right, anything else I gotta, oops. All right, I don't mind that. So you can see here the cumulative effect here, and I should probably save this guy. I don't think I've saved yet. That's dangerous. So he's starting to look like something here. We're gonna do a couple more layers. And then we're gonna call this a nice standalone stream. I'm not gonna try to do any more. So we've done 2 black shading layers. So far we've done our base shadow, our deep shadow, base highlight, high highlight, and then we added our inner glow on our stars here. We got a few more. The next one I'm gonna do is I'm going to add, I'm thinking it out, I'm trying to make up my mind. We're going to add some, because these are lit up, they're kind of glowing, we're going to add some hard shading here. So we're going to go back to our gold color. And this time we're going to change this to, what did I settle on before? I think I was doing vivid light. And we're going to do the same technique with our freeform brush. Combining styles, combining shapes. Yeah, I wish it would just do what I asked it to. And then now we're going to start picking out spots where we think, you know, we're seeing that glow on the main character here. So we're going to be careful, and we're going to try to, we know there's a lot here because he's hanging on to him. So we're trying to get that reflected light, and what we really want to do is create lots of little nooks and crannies, places where the light's hitting, like that. And the vivid light, once you start playing with these more dramatic blending modes, you can see that you get some pretty awesome results. So we're just trying to picture the more little areas that light's hitting, you know, the better the whole scene comes across looking. So we're just, based on where the ninja stars are, we're trying to figure out where we might be getting some, if they're really truly glowing, where we might be seeing that glow. So this one's coming out this way, so we might be seeing some here yet. It's kind of going out past his legs, so... Oh, this is a difficult choice. I might do a little bit down here, but probably a little bit here and here. Maybe a highlight there. Not sure what I want to do here. It's a big space, so I don't want to screw that up too bad. Let's see. I don't know what it looked like if I just did that. Yeah, let's try it. What the heck? I'm not sold on it, but ugh, of course it did. Anytime you like, I like to click on a different layer because that makes the layer outlines go away. Every time you do that, it resets the shape combining mode. If you've watched me before, you know that really pisses me off. See, like that, and I just told it to combine, but it just won't. Like, what the hell are you doing, Photoshop? I'm on this layer. I'm telling you to combine. Please do it. Maybe I'm getting a little bit here. So again, if you're just, it's good to be almost a little reckless with this. You know, you don't have to worry about screwing up the drawing. If anything, this just makes it look cooler. Don't worry about what you did before. Just do what you think this light's actually doing. And it's doing it again, you freaking jackass. Alright, I'm not going to undo those. I'm going to find out which layer we're on here. How far back did it... So there's our original one, and then it started... Which one is that? Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. So... It's our white. That's that. So everything from here on up needs to be merged because I don't know what the hell it was doing. And it needs to be vivid light. Okay. Combine freaking shapes. Thank you, Photoshop. And you just want to ignore me. You're just an a-hole like that. Combine the freaking shapes, jerk. Thank you. It was pretty tough, wasn't it? That's what I say to my kids. I don't usually call them a jerk, but maybe if they really deserved it. So again, I'm just picking my spots here. I'm breaking it up a lot, like the light's really getting refracted different ways. It's okay if it kind of differs from your original shading. Let's see, this might have a little bit in there. What else? That looks pretty good. I mean, with anything, you don't want to overdo it. These are out here pretty far, so I don't know. It's going to be dramatic. We want it to be cool looking, but we don't need to let it get out of hand either. What do we think about that? That's not bad. We're quiet in the room. I guess this one's taking a little bit longer. We're over an hour already. Of course, the first how many minutes of me talking to myself. That was great. All right, I think we're going to leave it at that. Now we're going to go in some a few airbrush layers and then some texturing, and we're going to be out of here. So do I want this one? Nah, I'm going to leave it where it was. Okay, So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here with a soft brush. We've got our opacity, pressure sensitivity turned on, our flow down to 25%, our airbrush, and we've always had the pressure sensitivity size on. So we're going to start with good old black and white. We're back to our soft light, and I'm really just going to kind of blend the shading areas. I'm going to make a nice big brush. We want to go nice and big so that it looks like a blend and we don't see streaks. So I'm just going to come in here, especially to the big areas, and come in with some black and just kind of... I'm going to leave a little bit at the edge so that it looks like reflected light, but smaller brush for smaller areas. Just going to give it that polished look. I'm going to try to hit ever so slightly every little area here. Just a little bit of blend. I like to stay pretty high level at this stage because it's really what you're going for is a more meta blend. You're not sweating details here. If you sweat details, you're going to get caught up a little bit. So I'm not worried about it. If you press light enough, you're just interested in getting, you know, ever so slight gradient on these areas. You know, circular areas you're trying to make feel volumetric. Just trying to make sure I hit most of these. We're really not going to do any of this shading. We're going to do some with the highlights, but I'm not really going to touch those ninja stars with this. I think that's about all I will need to do. Now we're going to turn around and do the same thing with white. And you can see that just kind of lends some volume to that. Some body. And we're even going to come in later and do some with where that light source is really hitting this is where I'm trying to hit it hard. So, you know, it's kind of hitting out here. Other than that, we're just trying to blend. I need to get nice and big here so as not to look dumb. And I'll bring it back down for the smaller areas. And that is probably about... I'm going to add a little bit into these stars just to smooth that hard line, that white, into the gold a little bit more. See, it's just kind of... We still want the hard light to be seen. But we're just trying to ease it a little bit. We're nearing the finish line here. I'm going to save the coolest part for last, and next we're going to add our texture. So I'm going to need 2 more layers. This next one we're going to fill with black, and that's going to be with soft light, you know, it's going to look like shade. We're going to add noise, as much noise as they'll let us. That's 400. So you can see I just kind of broke it up. It's black and white now if I get really close. It's just a simple noise filter. But then I'm going to take that filter and I'm going to blur it with motion blur. And it's just my cheat for creating some sheet metal texture. We're not going to have that on everything. We're going to, I'm going to alt click my layer to mask it out. And then I'm going to paint back in with my soft brush white on that mask. And we're just going to bring a little bit back of that 45. Like I said, I like to strategically do this. I don't want it everywhere. If it's everywhere, it looks just a little bit lazy. I want to make it look intentional on, you know, we're kind of seeing the texture of the metal hinted at without it overpowering anything. So in certain areas, especially usually where the shade, deep shade hits the regular lighting is where you might start to see more of those, you know, fine gradations in the metal. So here I'm going to be generous because that's a big area. Can add it a little bit in the lit up areas too, but I'm not going to do a ton. Am I going to do any in here? Ever so slightly in here, I guess. Maybe a little bit on the edges. Try it out and see what I like about it. I don't know. A little bit in the scarf. And we're almost done here. Have this wrapped up here soon. It's looking pretty sharp. Yeah, I can dig it. So there is our texture. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Our last layer, just to polish this guy off, we're going to go back to our gold, but we're going to do gold on an airbrush. So we got our airbrush settings, nice and big. And I'm going to go back to, what did I do earlier? I kept changing my mind. I ended up going vivid light on both. I think. What was what? I did linear light for the hard light and vivid for the, okay. So maybe we'll change this back. Wherever our, looks like I did linear for that before. What do I like? Yep, I kind of like that. I like it being a little bit more yellow. When we changed it to vivid, it changes some of those yellows into red, and I kind of want to keep it separate from the red for the hard shading. Whoop, cancel. I don't know what I just did there. So I'm going to keep with what we did before and keep that linear. It just keeps a little bit more of the yellow in. And then this blend will do the vivid. And I think those will work well together. So if I take this big area, again, I'm just kind of showing how that would blend back in with everything. Although, I don't know. This is coming out pretty yellow. I might change my mind again. Where is that? Here. Vivid linear, vivid linear. I guess it's not really changing those areas. I could do pin. Yeah, we're going to leave what I had before. So now I'm just kind of softening these areas. I guess I can even add it here and it'll make these kind of come alive a little bit. Again, this is more of a general effect, so I'm okay just being broad brushing this. This hand would be pretty lit up because he's holding on to him. It's not bad. I think I'm liking that pretty good. I like what it did just there. That's good. And yeah, we are done. Cheers, here's to you. Let's recap. Let's save. Always good to save. We're going to end here shortly. So we did about an hour and 20 minutes or so. At the start of this thing, we had something that looked like this, right? Then we threw down our automation and kind of got a blue layer, and we started adding back. I wish I had a way to disable all these individually at once. So layer by layer, we built up from our blue. We added our light gray, or our dark gray, then our light blue, and our red, and our gold. So then we had a flat that deserves a drink. Now we came in here with our shading, and we added our first layer of hard shading, our layer of deep shade, highlight. I think there's a term for that, but high highlight. Then our hard light glow. Then we came back in here and kind of made our stars stand out a little bit. And then we added our glow light into there. Then we added some airbrush shadow, some airbrush highlight, added our texture, and finally airbrushed our glow. Thanks for hanging out. For everybody that was here, Chaotic, if you're still hanging out, appreciate your time. We're going to save this and move on. Thanks.